What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 of the best citrus fragrance in my collection. So this is going to be citrus plus a little bit more, not just super fresh citrus fragrance. Even though some of them are super fresh citrus fragrances, not all of them are. That we have a little bit of versatility. So let's go ahead and get started with probably one of the best ones on this list for citrus, and it's cheap. It's going to be Cedrat Boisé by Mancera. So not the freshest scent, but it's still fresh enough to wear in the summer, in the spring. This is a really good all year round fragrance, and it's also a really good compliment getter. Last time I wore this fragrance, I was getting a lot of compliments. A lot of citruses, fruity notes. Not something like Herbal Puro, but people compare it more to Aventus. I don't really see it. But it is a really good fragrance, very powerful. See, I was just crazy with this one. So if you're looking for something budget-wise, it's going to definitely be Cedrat Boisé. This might be the cheapest fragrance in this list. Next, it's going to be a citrus with mint. It's actually going to be Renaissance by Xerjoff. A similar smelling fragrance that I do own, but it's not as citrusy, would be Guerlain's Homme. But we're going to talk about citruses in this video. So this is going to be mint and citrus. I believe it's mint, bergamot. Smelling it off the cap right there, I enjoy it more than I have been enjoying it, really. Like I said, this is one of my fiance's favorite fragrances in my collection. I don't really care too much about it, but it's definitely worth the mention, just because it is a lot of other people's favorite Xerjoff fragrance as well. But I'm more of a fan. I would probably lean more towards Guerlain Homme Eau de Parfum. But if you're looking more of a fresher, citrusy, or more citrus for the fragrance, I will go with Renaissance. Then let's go ahead with another Xerjoff fragrance. I just actually talked about it. It's going to be Herba Pura. This is pretty much a citrus bomb with some fruits. Herba Pura, I had a clone, the All Hair Mine Gold Edition. Really good. But getting the real thing is even better. This is one that I don't really reach for that often, but when I did reach for it last time, I was definitely enjoying my sillage. And I didn't even remember Herba Pura smelling like that out in the air after a few hours, but it smelled amazing. Happy to have it in my collection. One that I have, even though I barely wear it, I never really consider selling it, just because I know how much the All Hair Mine I loved. So I know if I sell it, it's going to be one of those fragrances I regret selling, and I'd rather just keep it in the collection. Even though I don't reach for it too often, this is one of the best fragrances. I think you could wear this fragrance in the summer and in the spring. Just limit your sprays. Don't overspray. I think it's a really good fragrance for both of those. Just like I said, don't overspray. Next is going to be one of probably the weirdest one to have in this list, but it is a citrusy fragrance. I believe it is. I actually looked up the notes before this video, and it is tangerine and bergamot and tobacco. So that explains the citrusy notes I'm getting. It's not just bergamot, it's tangerine as well. It's a spring tobacco scent. You could probably even wear this during the summer. It is what it is. You don't really think about a tobacco fragrance you could wear during the summer, but this is definitely one that you can. It's very elegant, citrusy tobacco, even though it might not sound the best. Creed does it in a really good way, because Creed is not like a thick aroma. It's a light, airy citrus tobacco. So definitely a nice combination. I think they did it right for a spring, summertime tobacco scent. And lastly, probably not the, well, it might be one of the best ones in this list. It's going to be Dior Homme Cologne. This is a blast of bergamot and musk. Really nice. If you guys watch my channel, you know the story of why I love Dior Homme Cologne so much, and it's actually my favorite Dior Homme Cologne, Dior Homme fragrance. I do own every single Dior Homme fragrance besides Dior Homme Original, and I don't own the Dior Homme Parfum. The original one at least, but this would still be my favorite one. Yes, Dior Homme Intense is good. Yes, Dior Homme Sport is really good too, and Dior Homme 2020 is really good. Dior Homme 2024 Parfum is also really good. But Dior Homme Cologne for me is still my favorite Dior Homme fragrance out of the line. And I can't wait to start wearing it. I'm waiting for the temperature to go up in Buffalo. Right now it's currently, I think it's 36 degrees right now. So once it starts getting to the warmer weather, 80s, doesn't really hit 90s I've seen around here. At least last year was my first year living in Buffalo. I maybe got to 90 degrees one time. Keep in mind I'm from Florida, so the 90 degrees that it felt here wasn't really a Florida 90 degrees, because Florida's more like a humid 90 degrees compared to what it was here. And then if you guys used to watch my old videos, that old apartment did not have air conditioning. That is something I had to learn the hard way when moving to Buffalo. Not that many buildings here have AC, which is insane. Now, gladly, I'm in a building that does have AC, but to be in 2024, 2025 and not have AC in the building just because you live in an old building, it's insane. At least I had heating at least, and I didn't know how to figure out the heating just because I've never used those floor heater things. I've never had to use that in Florida, obviously. So it was like my first, probably even in those videos, I was actually making videos. It was like maybe 10 degrees outside and I had no idea how to turn on the heat. I didn't even think my apartment had heat. It wasn't until like I started making friends around here that I found out that those are heats. Like that's heat that's on the floor, or like those vents on the floor. But yeah, it was a learning experience, especially, being in Florida. Pretty much everything has AC. Obviously, I am Puerto Rican. In Puerto Rico, not that many buildings have AC. And it's super hot, so way worse over there. So then go to Florida, where everything's pretty much way more modern than it is here in Buffalo. And then moving to Buffalo, not having cold air, and you're, sleeping with a fan. I got 2 fans going. Then I finally bought one of those portable AC units, which was another thing I didn't even know existed, a portable AC unit. So, probably most of you guys that live in New England are probably thinking I'm pretty stupid, but living in Florida is just a completely different thing. I think even like I used to be a real estate agent for a little bit. Even the worst houses in Florida have AC, which is, kind of standard in Florida. But that is all I have for you guys today. Weird little tangent at the end, but just a little bit, I guess, some experiences about living here in Buffalo. And so far I love it though. I do love being in Buffalo. I do enjoy being in Buffalo more than Florida. But let me know which fragrances in your collection are your best citrus forward fragrances. I realized I don't have that many citrus fragrances when I was picking out the fragrances for this video. So I definitely need some recommendations for some citrus fragrances. Definitely, let's say Sedley. I'm going to pick it up at some point. I was actually going to pick it up, but I completely forgot, and now it's out of stock in Olfactory Factory. And it's probably one of the best prices. I think the Perfume Spot does have a 4.2 ounce, which I didn't think I was going to get 4.2 ounce of Sedley, but it might look like I might have to just with the price wise. Maybe like a $30, $40 difference from the smaller bottle, so I might just pull the trigger on it. Also, the Millesime 1849, I also found it. It was a Harrods exclusive. Now it is no longer a Harrods exclusive, but I don't see it on Creed's website, so I do have the opportunity to buy a bottle right now. I'm debating it just because people say it smells like the old school Chanel No. 5 for women. So is it a fragrance I'm just going to own just to have, or is it a fragrance that I'm actually going to really enjoy? If I try to sample it, it'll probably be sold out by the time I get it, especially for the price I'll be getting it for. But we shall see. If you see it in my videos in the next few days, then you saw that I pulled the trigger on it. And if anything, I'll just sell it, right? It's one of those things. If anything, I'll just go ahead and sell the fragrance. But we'll see. That's all I have for you guys today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good one, guys.